I'll never get my money back.
I'm invested.
That's not gonna come off, is it?
No, I don't think so.
I just wanted to hook the Audi up to it, but he wants to.
Oh no, Audi sounds like a great idea.
It's a little bit of rust. How many hours we got into replacing just that frame?
I stopped counting.
Yeah.
It's getting depressing.
Way too many.
This is a lot bigger project than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Now I know why. I know other guys that have these things that when they rot out, they scrap them. Scrap them.
Yeah, we've welded the hooks on all the way, and now we're just putting the booms back on again for the dry fertilizer. And then Kevin is driving this home. He's got some air in the line. You got her going?
Yeah, looks good, eh?
It looked almost too good. All right, today's the day. It's still snowing, so you still got a little bit of...
No leaves on the trees yet.
So we welded those on. New brackets made up by Vic Powell there. Throw the anchors on. You're cleaning out the holes?
Yep, so my cylinder hone here that I got from Prince's Auto, that has yet to be in a cylinder, but it works fantastic for this kind of nonsense. Because I don't know how else you clean those holes out. My fingers and hands are too big to get in there. I also love it for cleaning out wagon spindle holes. That works great.
Yeah.
Just, I don't think I ever want to use it in a cylinder again after using it for this.
Yeah, I build engines.
Yeah. Can I hone out your 24 valve 5.9 Cummins?
Make sure that you get the nice crosshatch, eh?
Yeah,
You want nice 90 degree. Right. Keep welding and we'll throw some booms on it. You're gonna take it home today.
Yeah, but I'm gonna bring it back.
No!
When you're not looking.
No!
Because your wife's gonna miss it.
Because you need a parking spot, right?
Yeah.
You gotta go over center, get a little scoot back. Good more. Good more.
Ah, look at that. That's straight.
Yeah, that's pretty straight.
Yeah, that's not bad. I'm happy with that.
Okay, you guys can be the witness. I said 50 bucks a month. The first 2 months were free, and then rent after that was 50 bucks a month for having me here.
You know how much
So
my
that's
fuel
11,
flamethrower
9
burns?
months, 9 months times 50. That's 450 bucks. We didn't go through $450 worth of fuel.
Well, you would have if it worked.
Yeah, that Dites was the Dites worked out fantastic. Watch the video. Yeah, we've welded the hooks on all the way, so the box isn't going anywhere. And now we're just putting the booms back on again for the dry fertilizer. And then Kevin is driving this home, and he will attach all of these things.
Well, I attached one hose already here, but it doesn't go anywhere. I think it's supposed to be hooked up to some of this rotten mess down here.
I think you need
look
to...
at me go hooking up the hoses and. Well,
I think you need to flush the hydraulic system a little bit too.
oh yeah.
Because some of these hoses were just laying in the dirt a little bit. It's railroad stone, so it should be lots of oil in the railroad stone to lubricate the insides. There goes, leaving a big pile of smoke going down the road. I'm gonna give his truck back, and that's a lot of smoke coming out of that triple nickel. They're not known for being good engines, so maybe over the course of the next 11 months, we'll do an engine swap. 8.3 Cummins, here we go.
Right, this pump here was the liquid pump for the sprayer unit. So that's gotta come off. And this old dinosaur over here has to go on. This is the hydraulic pump to run the airbox. Now from what I can tell, the mounting is the same, but of course the drive is different.
Is that a 12 rib belt?
I don't know, but I don't have a belt. But I'm sure we can find a belt.
Yeah.
So I got the pulley off the front of the engine. So this is the one that came off this engine with a double V belt. Now the good thing was is they did come apart. They were kind of pressed together, but a few good spots with a hammer they come apart. And this was the one that came off the airbox engine. Now this was on a 3208 cat, so of course it's different.
Oh.
But I think I measured it out. There's enough room for this to fit. So we just need to make
a collar
yeah.
and re-drill the holes?
Yeah. So a collar that fits over top of this one.
That collar to fit
the inside of that.
Yeah.
And then re-drill the holes and then get some shorter bolts because this is smaller than this.
Okay. That's not a big deal.
And then there's enough room there that the belt will fit. So my neighbor down the road, his name is Rich, he's got a lathe, so I'm thinking maybe he can spin one out. I don't know.
No, I don't do that.
This is not gonna hook on to this.
Yeah, that's
not gonna work.
Gonna go a little slower?
Well, I looked at the other one.
So what does that run?
This runs the booms. Like the booms up and down. So it might be a little bit slower, but the other one had big fat hoses on it with adapters down to fit that. So we're just gonna take the adapters off the other one and stick them on here, and away we go. That's our plan. Anyways.
Okay. Everything else, are you using the rest of these? Because all you're doing now is running the pump, right? Which is
well, no, the pump will run the blower and the apron chains, I guess you call them.
Okay.
And then all these are for the booms.
Okay.
So you need 1, 2, 3, 4 sets because you need to go to tip up and to fold.
Okay.
Right, and 2 for each.
Okay.
So I need 4 modes, and this has 4 in it, and that's what the other one had on it. So.
Okay. And then the airlines, you had some airlines on there?
Yeah, the airlines, we don't need any airlines on it. There is one airline on this I saw somewhere. But I think that was just going to a foamer or something, or I don't know what it was for. It ends up over here. And it's just kind of like, it's just hanging here somewhere.
Okay.
I think it's this one here. And it's capped off, so I don't know what the scoop that is.
Okay. And then are you replacing any hydraulic lines?
Well, anything that doesn't look like there's a few here that are broken, right? That we said. Right, so obviously this is going to need to be fixed. Right,
and then the filter housing.
That's the plan. So supposed to be kind of some crappy weather in the next couple of weeks, so we'll hopefully get to work on this.
Yeah.
There's a whole skid full of hoses that I got to figure out what goes where. So
good.
It'll be a little head scratching.
Nice. Right on. Okay. Then you're gonna drop that off at Thomas Main's?
Yeah, probably.
And then we'll go from there.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, so Thomas Main made us a little collar here to line that up nicely, and they put some beauty holes in there. But then the problem is that the bolts are too long, so we had to find some new bolts. We'll get that on there. So problem 1 solved.
Yeah. Showed at Thomas Main, $75 for a collar and new holes. That's Canadian, so that's like $40 American.
I got this pump off, and it's got 3/8 bolts here holding it on. The other pump is like twice the size. So we want to put 1/2-inch bolts in here. But these are welded on the top. So we're trying to get this bracket should just slide down. But then these bolts up here that run across, they go through like a sleeve, I guess, and that sleeve is welded to the top, and of course they're seized in there.
Can you just, can we just nip these right off and then just drill new holes bigger and go through?
But that, yeah, the thing is how do you grind that little weld off the top for the bolts to sit flat down? I don't know. I might.
Can you do it in a different spot? Or
well, if I can get one free, I can get it flipped down. If I can't get one free, then we're gonna go with Plan C.
What's Plan C?
Just smash those in and drill holes, and I don't know, maybe put a nut on the inside or something. I don't know. The other problem is we only have this much room for a bunch of fittings and stuff to fit in here. There's oil pans, kind of close.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it's gonna fit if we manipulate a few fittings on the pump.
So the other one went like underneath?
Well, yeah, that liquid pump only went back this far, right? I don't know if the CAT engine was different. I don't know, it's just different, of course.
Yeah,
so,
just enough?
Just enough.
So to make this pump fit, we need to put an 8.3 Cummins in there.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. The pulley that we just built, just gonna fit. I think I got a quarter inch gap between that new pulley and the fan shroud. I measured that, so that's just gonna fit. So this is a liquid pump that came off.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
Right, just this little guy.
Yeah.
And this big, massive hydraulic pump's gonna go on there. This probably gonna grab a few horsepower. But yeah, but the holes are the same distance. I think if we just drill them out, or we could just put this plate onto here. But then we're still back with the small.
This plate looks heavier than this one is.
This plate looks heavier than this one. Yeah. So I'm thinking we should just use this and put some heavier bolts in.
I would think so, yeah.
This fitting here isn't gonna fit, and this one isn't gonna fit.
Yeah, but you can spin these.
This one we can spin down, and then it should just fit. And this one, I think I can stick on this side of the compensator.
Yeah, absolutely. The oil pan is right here.
And the oil pan would come like right here.
Oh, okay.
Down like this.
Okay.
So, I think with this down.
Can you rotate the pump?
Yeah, but then you got this big nasty thing sticking out in the way.
Right, but you can't clock it so that it's, because there's nothing on this side, right? Can you have this hanging down? But you can't because it's on like a 45.
It only goes two directions.
Yeah.
This way or the other way, and the other way is worse.
Yeah, just asking. It's my first time looking.
I don't know. Has this ever been a part, you think?
I think on the can of that it said wait 40 minutes to use sync.
The good news is it does still spin. So
that's good. Right on. You grabbed this one out of the guy's field, right?
No, yeah. Well, he had this. He actually put this in the shop. The rest of it was sitting in the field. This he had in the shop, and they actually taped up the fittings.
Nice.
So nothing else was.
Right on. Okay, so bang that up, and then I'll give you a hand lifting that in. Got our fancy little Princess Auto scissor cart.
Super handy.
Because that thing is heavy. And Kevin and I are both old and don't feel like laying on a couch for a week with a bad back or a hernia again, so.
Back in the day, we just lifted up there, but now we say there's...
Are we smarter or are we just lazy?
We have more toys, like this cart.
Yeah. Nice. Right on. So the only thing better would be a concrete floor, but we'll make do with a sheet of plywood, yeah. So belt's on its way?
The belts are being looked up yet. It's not just something you walk into Princess Auto and grab off the shelf.
No way. I need a 20 rib.
12 rib.
So the mounting plate where you had it, those bolts were welded on the top. Oh yeah, look at that. Got bolts hanging down.
Yeah, so they're gonna move on us.
Oh, I see.
Of course, because they were welded on the top.
Yeah.
And use the Sawzall. My neighbor up the road, he had a real smart idea. He said, just get a long Sawzall blade and cut the tops off. So that's what we did. And then I could drill them and put those in. So it should work just nice.
Nice. Yeah, this bracket doesn't really come down.
Well,
there's the bolt goes through the sleeve and is seized.
It's seized tight. So that's like a 4-day project to get those bolts out. And this was way faster and easier.
Nice.
And the end result's the same. We got bigger bolts in.
Right on. So as long as we clear the oil pan, we're good?
Yeah, so we've got those fittings moved, so I think we're gonna be in between here and here. I think we're good.
Okay.
According to the tape measure, we should be fine.
Nice. All right, here we go.
Hey, pretty close.
Up and out?
Yeah, up and at 'em. This is like the easiest install ever.
Except I can't use my foot on this thing.
Look at that. Lots of room. You can almost slide it all the way too, but
I think you got to move back like a good, almost, I would put 3/8 to a half. And
Oh, I moved back quite a bit.
yeah, and that looks very good to me. So the only reason that this made sense is that it came off of a TerraGator.
It's going back on a TerraGator.
It's going back on a different TerraGator.
Yeah, different TerraGator, different engine. So
Yeah, can go before the pump install, but there's your pulley, right? And it fit right on?
Yeah, well, we had it machined, right?
Yeah.
Bolt right on, but when I took it off, I could nicely get my wrench here. This I had to work from underneath this time.
Yeah.
There's no way of getting those bolts this way. But it wasn't too bad. It went under pretty simple. But I don't know how you get the pulley off with that pump. You might be able to squeeze your hands in there, but
With the
just fits in there just good.
Nice. Did you have to take the fan shroud off?
No.
Oh, you got one bolt that you can spin it and tighten it
Yeah,
underneath.
you stick 3 bolts in the bottom and then crank it around and then 3 bolts in the bottom.
Yeah. Right on. Easy peasy. We can do it all again when this thing blows up. If you tilt back, then we should be good.
Okay, well, a little update here. So we got all these lines, this big worm farm under here. We think we got them sorted out. We had to buy one new one, and some other ones we just stole off the tank because we're cheap. So we got those all on here. We got them routed up front, and then we got them all the couplers off the other tank. Now we think we have them all on the right ports. So a little interesting. I always assumed that if you had a double acting cylinder, you would have pressure one way and pressure the other way, but the 2 returns for the boom tilt, I guess, are teed together, and they were in the other one too. And the valves in there, number 1 and number 2, are for the tilting of the booms, and they just have pressure. There's no return.
So just one way.
So they're just one-way cylinders. I don't know if this is a return, like if this has got a little bit, like normally on your return there's a couple 100 pounds back pressure. So I don't know if there's just a little bit of back pressure on to help drop it down, or if this is
slowly?
Slowly.
Yeah.
So we'll find out once we get it going. But then the other ones for the swing, the other 2 valves actually have pressure and return. So this is pressure and return for number 3, and this is pressure and return for number 4, which we're not using number 4 because this doesn't have an option for that. So, and then the filter head. Well, I don't have it here. We destroyed that trying to get the filter off.
That's amazing.
So it's gone. We got the filter off, but the bypass valve in the head was shot. So
okay.
We're currently sourcing one of those, and then we get these. Oh, we gotta get a new belt for up the front. So the best we can do is buy one from the dealer for $300. We are trying to find a cheaper one, but we are unsuccessful. So once we get that, then it'll run.
Then you fix all the leaks.
And fix all the leaks, and then we got to figure out the wiring on this yet. So that's going to be another issue. There's there's sensors because it's all rate controlled, right? For how fast, like this guy here, controls how fast it puts it out, right? Versus your speed. So if you slow down, it slows down. If you speed up, it speeds up. If you want to put more on, it'll, you punch in there, put more on. So that's, like a lot of the wire ends look like this now. So that's a lot harder to figure out than when it looks like this.
It's all 5 volt or?
What's that?
Is it 5 volt?
I'm assuming 12. I don't know. And then this has a Raven in it, which is supposed to be better than the Dickie John. So we're gonna see if we can figure out how to make that work. But first, we're gonna get the hydraulics running to see if it's worth having going after this headache. So
What do you mean if it's worth it? Or just buying a whole new
Like
setup for it.
Well, if it's kind of iffy, then we'll just throw the Dickie Johns in and run it until it's over.
Okay.
But if it's really mint, then maybe we'll spend the time and get the Raven working.
Okay. Fertilizer's expensive, Kevin. You gotta moderate that. You can't.
It is.
It pays for itself pretty quick to have it working
really
properly.
And then we gotta get our safety lights going, and then we gotta put these back to booms on here for
Nice.
the middle. So got a little creative with the leftovers from the other one. This is where the big hose ran to the pump that was up here, to the spray pump. So we just used the clamps and pieces of the hose to make some hangers for the hydraulic hoses. So that'll hopefully hang that up out of the way. So that's all connected.
So no new hoses, you just...
That's the old hose, but just to tie them up, right?
Yep.
So that was handy. And then I did a belt. We were talking about this big belt I needed.
To put it in perspective, it's not like seasons later, it's only like 2 weeks later, I think,
Yeah, yeah, we're not years later.
There's leaves on the trees now.
So this is, I found this belt used up at Vantage Farms. They had one, sold me for reasonable money. So that's gonna dry, but that runs right off the crank, so I don't want to put this on until I have all the hydraulics hooked up and oil in it, because that pump will be running dry and that'll be bad. So that's why we're waiting for that.
So these are for sale on eBay. They're only $2 each, but shipping's $800.
I don't know, I thought those would be neat to put some big lights or something on there.
2 big whoopies.
No, some great
No?
big LEDs.
Oh, you want like Jeep light bar style.
Put some new fan belts on today.
Wow.
Yeah.
You change the oil in the engine?
Not yet. And I got the new filter.
Yeah.
And then when I went to get the new filter housing, it says the ports are SAE 20, which is 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
And when you measure this with a tape measure, it's 1.25 inches, but it don't work.
You can just get Vince to weld that in. That's brass
So-
to aluminum, he can do that.
Adapters are coming tomorrow. So we'll have the adapters tomorrow for the new filter housing.
The rest of the hoses are all done?
The rest of the hoses are done.
Nice.
So I got a couple here I got one here that's leaking. So I need a new one. Probably off to
B&R?
B&R, yeah. Get some new hoses made, a couple here are leaking. That's for the booms.
Okay.
And then the hydraulics, somebody can see if this fan motor goes round and round.
Yeah, that's the important part.
I'm thinking I'm gonna load it up with some used hydraulic oil out of a tractor first. And then we're on to the electrical system. So after talking to this guy in Vantage, he says, just stick with the Dickie John because an idiot can run them. And I says, that's what we need. But this servo valve back here, if we go with the Raven, I would have to get one of these that works with the Raven. So now we're talking big money, and we have this, so we're gonna use this.
Yeah.
So we got all this out of the box I got. So we got these, we got this thing, which has been hacked up a little bit. We'll figure that out. And then
That's just a bulb and a toggle switch in a box, Kevin.
yeah.
I hate to break it to you.
Yeah, no, but for the switches for the, I don't know, it's not, I didn't say it was rocket science. What's so mean? So then we got the nice pigtail. This was the one I went to St. Thomas to get because I didn't know. Right, this goes here. So with missing this part, I wouldn't have been able to figure out where all the wires go, right? So.
Right.
Anyways, got it all together, and then this goes to this flush switch, and this one was supposed to hook to this. And I'm like, that's not gonna work. Something must be wrong. And yeah, hold on, I was missing this. Yes, so this part is not cheap, but Vantage Farms had to use one for us. So hee-haw. This was $700 new.
Yeah.
So you can still get them, so that was a good part.
Is the full serial number there, or do you have to tell the person? Oh yeah, it's just fold it over.
I just
Usually it's like 11469 and make up the last number.
Well,
it's gone.
If you go on the if you Google Dickie John stuff, then it comes up and you get all the manuals, you get the layouts. I actually got a sales brochure, had everything, and it said if you have this, you need this to run it. And I'm like, oh, I have that, but I don't have this. So now we have this. So hopefully it works. That's.
And he had a shed full of like every piece?
Yeah, he's got those boxes, he's got everything.
Is there any like powers of stuff that are already there, or do you have?
Well, so this is black and red.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's power and ground.
Yeah.
And that should run everything.
And
then everything else ties into everything else.
Okay.
Well, other than here, there's a power and a red too, here too, right?
Okay.
I'm assuming.
So the functions are all hydraulic. This is more or less just monitoring?
Yes, monitoring. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, this controls your speed of your apron,
okay,
right? For your rate control.
Yep.
So that's what this is a rate controller. So the faster you drive, the more goes out.
Yeah.
Off the radar. And then it's also got a fan speed sensor, and it's got low oil hydraulic. That's what that and oil pressure. That's what that big light is for.
Okay. Right on.
So the next project then would be to get into this cab. A nice comfy cab. And this all has to go out, and the other stuff all has to go in. So that's the next project. That's still going to be the rest of this week's project. Get that in there and maybe make it nice. I don't know. Can you make it look nice? And that's where we're at right now.
Right on.
All right, so we're getting most of the electrical hooked up. We have a bit of an issue. We have to get our ground speed sensor hooked up. Now, most everything that I run has Dickie John radars on it. They are pretty common, and that would be great because we have a Dickie John system here and a Dickie John plug, and plug the Dickie John radar right in. But of course, this TerraGator has a Raven speed sensor on it, and it is different. So lots of adapters out there to go from a Dickie John monitor to a Raven controller, and there is one to do this, but we're just gonna make one. Bob at Eggers had a connector for me to go to here, and we have a harness here that we got from this extension. We'll just cut it and we'll crimp some pins on, and we're gonna make it work. So we got the fan running, but we couldn't get the apron going. So trying to figure out if it was hydraulic or electrical. So back here on this control motor, you can stick a screwdriver in here, and you can open and close the valve manually. So when I open it manually, it runs. So that's kind of good news, because that means hydraulically we're working, but we have an electrical issue. So the first thing that my head goes to is this used valve actuator block that I got. Must be no good. But after doing some testing, we are getting out the 12 volts out of each one. So we're like, maybe there's something wrong between here and the motor, and voila, this here is the wire that goes from the block to that actuator. So I'm pretty confident that that has got something to do with it. So we're gonna blame that one on Rich for wrecking that when we rolled it over, and we're gonna fix that and give it a go. So there it is. It's all folded out. Had it running. Thought we'd wind it right up. Sorry I didn't get that on video. I can't do everything at once. And it was all of a sudden it started shaking and banging and oil leaking. Well, I thought I blew the motor out of the cylinder, or out of the fan, sorry. But if you look in here, you can see what the problem is. That must have dropped in there when must have even used it to hold something, and it must have fell in there, and we didn't see that. Anyways, it's now in the fan, and it's throwing it off balance. And then, of course, it shook a hydraulic line loose in the bottom, which made a big oil leak. So, gonna get that all cleaned up and get that block out, and then we'll get her back going. Okay.
So I'm just coming back from Newport, working on the Silverado, and driving here, and some really bad news. Because that looks like the booms are out, and I owe Kevin a case of beer. Oh, boys. Oh, look at, keeping the dust down?
Yeah, of course. We got a couple of little oil leaks to fix yet. So
Yeah, it wasn't that the C10 was going to be done 100%, but I said if the booms are out, then
these rollers are C's. These rear rollers.
oh shoot.
So the chain this nicely goes. They're smooth rollers. So it looks like everything's working fine, and then you're like, wait a minute, I think those are supposed to turn because they're on bearings with grease fittings.
Grease fittings are supposed to be rusty. No. Everything else works? A couple surprises?
I think so. Well, we haven't tried the automatic mode in the field yet to set the ground speed sensor up.
Okay.
Because I had to make the Raven controller, Raven radar onto the Dickie John controller. I think it'll work.
Nice.
And what else? And that's it. I didn't realize that when you unfold it and you see these big gaps here.
Oh yeah.
I thought they should join up, but after I talked to somebody today, like, that's normal.
Really?
The fertilizer can jump that, I guess. It just blows right through.
Oh, well that's just, it doesn't allow, yeah, it's just another spot, right? It's just a normal spot.
You think it would leak out, but evidently that's the way it goes. So,
Right on.
and of course, a couple fittings we forgot to tighten up when we unfolded. You know.
Uh-oh, is your cooler's leaking in here too?
Shit. It won't be in the field tomorrow.
No? That was the hope?
Well, that was the hope, but the cooler's looking pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks.
So we thought that cooler might need some help, but we thought, hey, let's not spend money on that until we know the rest of it works.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
We got an oil leak on this control valve here too. We gotta fix.
Okay.
So, but that oil cooler, that one's like that's just a loose fitting, I think. But that oil cooler, that's
A little bigger deal.
well, that's not something that, you know, we're
Well, you gotta wait for the cooler to get fixed too, so. I bet he's got some air in the line.
all right. We got the oil cooler out. It's leaking here in the bottom, and as you can see, I don't think it cools any oil anymore. So we searched and did some research, and the guys in town, they won't record. They don't want to touch it in case I get a new one. New ones are expensive, but then I went to their place in town and they had a new one in stock, and it looks like this.
Nice.
Because these machines were designed to run all day long in 35-degree plus weather. That's Celsius. And we're only running just one field at a time. So Brian at Vantage Farm says they run without coolers. Just keep an eye on the temperature. So that's what we're gonna try.
Nice. Here we go.
Okay, getting the bearings off. There's only a real one way to get these rusted things off. That's right.
call from Kevin this morning that the air brakes aren't working and he's dead in the water. So going to rescue him. It's funny, a rough couple days because I think the transmission gave out in the case, his big tractor that he uses to work up the field. So he's had to use the 110, which isn't great. And he didn't fix the transmission. He did buy a used one, but that wasn't any good. He did, but I don't think he had a chance to fix that because he was busy working on the TerraGator. And I lost my case of beer, and I think that's why he, I think that's why he's working on the TerraGator, because he can't lose a case of beer. But now it kind of screwed him for springs. That's not good. Anyway, there he is, working away.
Busted.
I brought a hammer, a pipe wrench, and an adjustable.
So this line goes to the brakes, and it has air on it.
Okay.
But that should only have air on it when you press the pedal, right?
So the brakes are stuck on?
No.
They're just not working at all.
Don't work at all.
Yeah, that's about all that compressor would put out. What brakes are on?
It's hydraulic brakes in the axle.
Okay.
So, like yesterday when I left the field, I stopped at the side of the field and I stepped on the brakes and it didn't stop.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, what the heck? And the pedal felt like really hard and weird.
Okay.
And then now it was the same thing. I said, well, let's check the brakes for a minute. I had lots of air at the start. I started up, I had lots of air. Brakes didn't work at all.
Right. So where?
So that could
which
be.
one's on the brake then? Just.
This is right here, right? So this is a diaphragm in here that pushes on the brake.
Oh.
So these diaphragms could be shot.
Yeah.
But then it should still air up, no?
It'll piss out right out to there.
Yeah, but there shouldn't be any air pressure on here until I press the pedal, no?
So I'm still thinking like a transfer truck. I don't know how those work. Transfer truck is you push the button to release the air, right?
I know.
So there's got to be a safety beyond, like if this happens down the road, you're gonna run into somebody in front of you. The brakes should come on.
Well, that's what happened at your place. Remember when when I was back underneath, you're like, stop, stop, stop?
Yeah.
That's because I had a massive air leak and I had no brakes.
That's really dumb setup.
I'll say.
Yeah. So because of that, we're scrapping the whole project.
Yeah.
You got her going?
Yeah, that's good, eh?
It looks almost too good.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but a bet is a bet. So you got time to drink one?
Of course. I don't know if you get one though. No, this is it's a taste of victory.
I made a bet with Kevin to see who would be done first, the C10 or his TerraGator. Even though it's not finished, well deserved. So anyway, probably not the last video on the TerraGator. We'll do all the finishing little touches on it and then do an actual finished one. But for now, we're on to the next project. So B&R's got a Terex with a burnt cab. We're gonna replace that cab and a couple other big videos coming up. So here we go.